What's going on, everybody out there? It's Ron Brown, LMC, the People's Fitness Professional. I've just got the bombs today. I gotta upload some new sounds. I don't have any new sounds. I need some new sounds like hand clap. I had all that stuff in the beginning. Anyway, I know what y'all came here to see, Brother Jelani Bey. Before we go into this build, let's run the commercial.
Peace family. Welcome to NYP Talk Show. This is more than a podcast. It's a conscious platform rooted in truth and culture. From the 5% Nation, Nation of Islam, Moorish movement, and Masonry. Our mission is to reclaim our narrative and uplift the African diaspora with real stories and real conversations. Support us through super chats during live shows, donations on Cash App, GoFundMe, Patreon, or Buzzsprout, and by repping our official merch, available on our website and right here on YouTube's merch shelf. Every dollar, every super chat, every hoodie builds the movement. This is NYP Talk Show.
All right, peace, everybody out there. Y'all got the commercial. Super chats in the live. We would appreciate it. We're trying to build this podcast up. It is growing, it's growing on the audio, and it's growing on the visual. So, support the movement. We got a lot of interviews coming up. But today, let's build with the brother Jelani Bey. Now you have GEC up there now. What is the GE?
Grand Enemy Commander, the York Rite Masonry, Knights Templar.
All right. And you served in the Navy?
Oh, yeah. United States Navy. Mm-hmm. Gave him a little over 6 years.
Nice. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome, brother. I'm also a past master as well. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, before we go into the masonry questions, let's address some things. Brother Nakeem Bey, I built with the brother Nakeem Bey. He has some stuff to say underneath the comments, and I have them right here, and I just want to address those things. Before we address those things, I want you to let it be known that you meant no disrespect or anything like that.
Oh, I mean, you're absolutely correct, man. With all due respect to Brother Nakeem Bey, I think the very first time we met each other was like 2005. He had a consular court thing he was doing. That's the same time I met Africa Bambaataa. I was a member of the Great Seal, and also one of the founders of the League of Moorish and Indigenous Nations. And I was promoting that at the time. I believe it was 2005. And I also met Hakeem Bey in person. It was Hakeem Bey and Sharif Bey who introduced me to what Moorish Science was and caused me to join the movement. I got to give them that kudos and that props. But as far as Nakeem is concerned, we met on several occasions after that. And my intentions when we talked about it last week was never like to target him or anything like that. I don't remember what the question was that led into me recalling different things. And that's the only thing I was doing was recalling certain things. So I'll say openly that if you took any offense to that, I apologize, but I'm not in the business of slandering anyone. I'll tell you what I have experienced firsthand, and I'll tell you firsthand accounts from somebody else, and I will tell you who told me. But as far as Dumas Bey is concerned, he recapped what happened in Utica.
Well, before we go into that, brother, let me do this. I just want to say this.
Okay.
I'm not new to the movement. I've been around for a long time. I know Messiah. I know Jelani Bey, Messiah, Nakeem Bey. In fact, I threw me, Terrain, and Knowledge Eternal from the 5% Nation, who was a part of the Clock of Destiny. We threw a unity I think it was like a unity rally. I would call it that. We threw a unity rally. Nakeem Bey was there. Jelani Bey was there. Roz was there. Taj, and C. Ferguson Ill from Temple 21 was there. You know, some other Moors were there. This was 2007, 2008. That was a long time ago, right? So I'm just saying that to say I've been around for a while. I pretty much know everybody. I pretty much know Jelani's character. Nakeem, and I know Hakeem. I know Hakeem Bey as well. I don't know Nakeem Bey to be like being chased. That's the thing. When you said that though, that kind of threw me off because I don't know Nakeem Bey as to be somebody that's running from somebody. You know what I mean? So when you said that, that threw me off a little bit. I just want to say that right now. As far as what he's saying in this thing, he said regarding Ariel upstate. He said, I don't know if you remember that. Ariel upstate. You remember what you said?
Yeah, Brother Uriel. Yeah, peace and blessings be upon him.
Okay.
That's in Utica, New York.
Okay. He said another lie. Contact the brother from Syracuse, Ralim, and Khalid Bey. He said they were there. First of all, Dumas never issued charters or disposition. So that's what the brother Nakeem Bey said. He said he gave me a written document and our photo. Sister Ifa, that's her name, Ifa? The Nubian sister.
I believe so. I don't know.
I think that's her name. Said to everyone, this document is not Photoshop. He says, I mentioned
that was a rumor that it was. You know, I mean, that was a rumor that it was. I never aspired to that rumor. I never, you know, said, yeah, it was Photoshop because I wasn't there. I don't know. You know, I just know what Dumas Bey said to the group of Great Seal Moors, and I've seen some reactions, you know, that allude to other things that were said personally with my own eyes, and you know, so Dumas's account, and as far as what happened in Utica. The Moab, Tierra, Cherokee, Kittiwah Nation was supposed to be there. Our Empress, Anua Tierra L, had a family issue, and we had to cancel the trip. Shortly after the event was over with, she got a phone call. I, another Mufti, and her sister, her niece, Zafira Ilbay, was there when we received the call about the business that happened in Utica. All right. So I was there when she got the message that it was some disunity in Utica. Then when the Great Seal assigned me and our entourage to go to Cleveland, that's when Dumas Bey came in there looking like sharper than the Board of Education and sat down with us and told us his account of what went on and what his capabilities was. See what I mean? And we videotaped it. Brother Akbar Bey videotaped it. So, and as far as the circles and mothers and sons, yes, that's correct. It had been communicated to us by one of the brothers from the Clock of Destiny that some Great Seal Moors had came and got the 10 lessons earlier, and they didn't feel like they treated that correctly. So we were just there to get information. I'm trying to remember the other brother that was with us. I think it was Akbar Bey, who had got some documents from him, but we were just there to verify the leadership of the Clock of Destiny. And Brother Dumas Bey had verified that, and he told us what was going on with the picture, and that he told him it was all right to do a Clock of Destiny in New York. but he never gave him permission to be over the entire clock. He said he didn't have that power to give that permission. That's my ear, my eyes to Dumas, to us. It's not a rumor. I was there. So I'm getting it from Dumas' side. Now, King can say his side, but I'm getting it from Dumas' side. I was there, you know. So I apologize if he didn't want that information out. You know, it was not my intention to try to belittle him or try to defamate his character, anything like that. Jelani Bay don't get down like that. I don't take pleasure in trying to destroy other people's reputation. Islam.
All right, so you covered the document. You covered the document that is not photoshopped. Okay, and the 10 lessons and the cassette tapes originated from the Circle of Mothers and Sons.
Mm-hmm.
They don't call themselves the Clock of Destiny. Okay.
Yeah, right. No, I never said that. It was brother Daryl Thomas Bay who actually did the audio on those 10 lessons, because they had 10 lessons in the book, and then the lessons on the cassette tape. Okay. Brother Daryl Thomas Bay did those, and they did come from the Circle of Mothers and Sons. See what I mean? Not the Great Seal, not the clock, but the clock was giving you access to them. We got a copy of the 10 lessons from the clock. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Circle of Mothers and Sons was in circulation then. You know, I don't know if they were still going, but we got them from the clock. You know what I'm saying? So there's no dispute about where they came from. You know, I got a hold of the 10 lessons. I read them. I didn't get the cassettes. I read the 10 lessons for myself. That's where we get Ben Bay Emmanuel Muali as Prince Hall. You know, that's taught in the 10 lessons. So I'm not sure what the controversy is with that. You know, that's when I first learned about Brother Sharif, is the Circle of Mothers and Sons, when he did his video, Moorish Jurisprudence. You know, I heard that bad boy and I was like, oh, snap, I'm in. Where do I sign? Then shortly after, Hakeem Bey came out with the Moors. And I got into that thing, boy. Yo, I was drunk with, you know, I was gung-ho. Point me the way. And then what happened was we were searching for a jurisdiction, you know, because we wanted to get a Great Seal down in South Carolina. And we went on a search without going too deep into it, and we couldn't find the right place. And I think I said it in the last interview that I went to Pennsylvania, to Philly with Isis Shiva Ill. Her mom had just passed away. And I was supposed to go to New York afterwards and help her certain some things out. We met Anna New Ill in Philly. Anna New Ill told us about a meeting in Brooklyn with the Great Seal. And that's where I met Kamal Bey, who had just been made the Emir for the Great Seal. And he told us how he wanted to expand. You know, we each represented ourselves. At that time, we represented the Moab-Tier Cherokee Kittiwah Nation. And he then gave a delegation of authority for me to start a Great Seal and be the Emir in South Carolina and ISIS in Georgia. That's it. And then from then, I started getting promotions. After South Carolina, I was then promoted to the East Coast representative of the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs. And that's when I was assigned different things, you know, investigating this brother in North Carolina, and, you know, investigating what we thought Brother Nakeem Bey did with the 222141 number that was very, very important to the clock in the Great Seal. We had received information that he changed the number, and my first assignment was to go to Cleveland, Ohio. It was myself, Akbar Bey, Kamal Bey, and I'm trying to remember if there was another brother with us. Oh, it was Isis Shiva Ill with us. And Dumas said his side. Then later on, we all met at the Starbucks I just contacted Kamal Bey, and he verifies that Brother Sharif Bey was there with me, Nakeem, Salahuddin Il, and ISIS. So I'm not crazy. As a matter of fact, outside of what's the name, we were comparing kung fu forms, Tiger Crane versus our Outer Tiger, how similar it was. So that's how I remember it, recall it. So
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't want to bring Sharif Bey name up, but since we on there, let's do it. Right?
I apologize. My mouth get to rolling, man, about especially if it's truth, and I apologize about that.
It's all good. So you met with Sharif Bey. I guess this is why he's making mention of it, or he's talking about it, because you mentioned his name, that you met him somewhere. This whole story.
Yeah, and again, the same thing with Brother Sharif Bey. Like I said, man, he's the one that introduced me and made me aware of the Moorish movement. Him and Brother Hakeem Bey. So I got the utmost respect for that brother. You know, I would never openly slander that brother's name or misrepresent his name or anything of that nature. You know, I'm the type of person that I speak truth, man. If I don't experience it or I haven't researched it for myself, I don't mention it. But when I call Sultan Kamal Bey a few minutes ago, just before the show, and he verified it, well, the story's done now. I just hope he don't take offense to the truth. But I'm not trying to come from. I never have.
Why would he take offense to you meeting up with him at Starbucks and y'all having contact? Maybe because I don't remember exactly what you said on the last podcast. Did you say you, Sharif, and somebody else approached Nakeem? I don't understand how.
No, not at all. We all met at the Starbucks. We contacted Nakeem. Nakeem said he'd be at the Starbucks at this particular time, and we all converged on the Starbucks at 125th and Lenox.
Okay.
You know, as the East Coast Regional Commander for the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs, past Sultan Yusuf Rami Bey and Grand Emir Kamal Bey assigned me to be there. My chain of command assigned me to be there at the Starbucks to mediate the situation.
Okay.
And I was pretty much asking Nakeem different questions about the copyrights. When he explained to me that he pretty much saved the Clock of Destiny copyrights, I was at peace with it. Because once copyrights expire, anybody can get them. The Ku Klux Klan can take over them doggone copyrights and now be over the Clock of Destiny publications. So what he did was take measures to keep the Clock of Destiny in the family. That's how I interpret it, and I was fine with that. He even said that the 222141, it's not that it can't be used, you know, it says now it's protected under another set of numbers. And I was cool with the explanation. You know, I don't know about anybody else.
Okay, so
it makes sense to me.
Were you ever a member of the Great Seal?
The Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs?
Okay.
Absolutely. Now, there's two Great Seals.
And how long have you known Nakeem Bey?
I think we first met in 2004, 2005 at his event up there in New York. It was like a council of court event.
Okay, I personally saw you with my two eyes. You and Nakeem Bey in the same space when we did that event on 124th Street. No, 120.
Right, at the panel discussion at the Masonic Lodge. That's exactly correct.
Exactly. I was there. I threw the event. It was me, Terrain Hicks, and Knowledge Eternal, one of the gods from the 5% Nation, who is a part of the Clock of Destiny. We threw this event. Nakeem Bey was there. Jelani Bey was there. Everybody was basically who was somebody in the Moorish
Grand Governor,
movement.
Temple 21.
Yep. Everybody was there, and
yeah.
that was 2007, 2008. So around that time.
Islam.
So that was a long time ago, right? So you've known Nakeem. I saw you guys together, not together, but in the same area. So you would have to know each other since that point at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. Dumas Bay. Who's Dumas? You already spoke on Dumas Bay, right?
Dumas Bay was the inner entourage to Charles Mosley Bay. That was like first generation, for lack of a better term, disciple under CM Bay. You see what I mean? And Curtis Bay was there, you know, and there's another sister there. We also met some of the elders, you know, of the clock, you know, and the bulk of the meeting was in our hotel room, you know, so that's where that is, man.
Okay, so anything other than that, I don't know what happened. I don't know how to go. I don't know. But you addressed everything, right?
What was the thing about masonry?
Yeah. Let's go into that. Let's go into masonry now. So, your masonry. Now, you became a part of the lodge. What lodge did you become a part of? I think you already said all of that, but let's go into that. Your history in masonry.
Okay. In 1997.
Another thing. Hold on. Before we go into that, we're trying to clear the air here.
Okay.
People said a lot of things about you over the years. You said it, and I've heard some things about you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what do you think people's issue with you is?
What I believe is they hear slander from other people and then they spread it, not knowing me personally, you know, but they hear the dirt and they spread the dirt. Give you a prime example. In 2006, after the conference, I received a call from a gentleman, Elihu Pleasant Bay, and he said that some people who I had nationalized, because a person named Sakima had allegedly nationalized these people, but he was using sovereign citizens documents, and they called me in to look at them. Brother named what was this cat name? Malik Bay is what his free national descent name was. And he called me down there. I looked at the documents, and what I did for them is I did their paperwork over with the Great Seal paperwork. That's the delegation authority I had. So, and I gave them a $60 discount on what was prescribed to be for the paperwork. And I received a call from my good friend, Lord Tawfiq from the Zulu Nation, saying that there was some information put out on the internet about me overcharging for paperwork. Well, he didn't say that at first. He says, do you have an internet? I said, I have access to an internet. And he said, well, hold on, let me call you back. In the meantime, my Grand Sheik, Mayat Spirit Bay, called me. Hey, Jelani, I hear you making all the money down there. I'm like, no, sir. You know, I'm barely getting by down here. Where you get that from? Well, I'll call you back. So then a good friend of mine called me. Hey, Jay, how you doing? You all right? Now my gears are turning like, what the heck's going on? Lord Tawfiq called me back and said, hey, man, your boy, your best boy drafted up the letter. Your Grand Sheik signed the letter. And a sister put it on internet. All these people, good friend of mine's now, right? So I'm shocked. So when my Grand Sheik called back, we got into it. When my friend called back, we got into it. Grand Sheik said, well, we're going to put you on a trial this coming Saturday. I'm like, all right, give me the information. No, somebody going to pipe you in. Who piped me in? My best friend. He's gonna pipe me in and try to tell me, all right now, bro, Jelani, calm down. There's gonna be people from all over the country on this call. Well, I talk French to him and just told him, man, look, just plug me in. I challenged the jurisdiction of the court. And then my grand sheik said, well, we got an eyewitness. Brother Malik Bey got on there and he says, I paid $1,200. I said, you paid $1,200 for what, Brother Malik? I paid $1,200. I said, wait a minute. You paid for you, your wife, your grown son, and your grown daughter. That's right, I paid $1,200. No, sir. The way you presenting is I asked you alone for $1,200. But in reality, 3 times 4 is 12. So I charged each one of your family members $300. Now the judge on that case was Asameen Bey from the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs. And when he spoke up, everybody who spoke up, I tore into him. And then he said, no, Brother Jelani, wait. Listen to me. You're absolutely correct. I was at the meeting of the Great Seal where we voted to charge people $360 for regular situations and $180 for single mothers with children. As a matter of fact, Brother Jelani, you gave them a $60 discount. I'm gonna take this case as a mistrial. Case dismissed. But after that, Brother Elihu Blessing Bey still went around telling people I'm charging people $1,200. As late as what, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Somebody tried to get me in this organization and they couldn't get me, so they called him on the phone, and I tore into him. You slandering my name, bro. See? So if anything, I'll give you a discount. I'll put you on the payment plan. You say you ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm doing the labor. You know what I'm saying? Chapter 31, verse 10 through 12 say, hey, look, if you're somebody doing labor for them, you pay them. And in return, you don't overcharge them for the labor. So brothers tell me, I ain't got the money. Okay, brother, give me so much down and then pay on it. That's how I've always been. That's how I've always lost. See? But that's slander to this very day. People, you charging outlandish prices and this thing, that thing. And, or I would start a payment plan and then they'll make a payment, then go on Facebook and say that they paid me money and I didn't give them their paperwork, trying to force me to give the rest of them for free.
Okay, now to keep that, I gotta keep it a buck on here. I gotta keep it a buck. So you got that story, and then you got another story, and so I'm not accusing you of, doing anything crazy, but I always learn where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
Islam.
So if more than 3-4 people say that something happened with some money, what's going on, brother? Because I know the brother Cujo, since we talking about it, we're open about it right now. Let's talk about the Cujo situation. Cujo said,
yes, sir.
Cujo was talking about how something happened with some money and things like that. So what's happening with these money situations?
People are trying to take advantage of me. And when they try to take advantage of me, the best way they do it is publicize the slander. So it either forces me to do what they want me to do, or it defamates my character. Now let's talk about Canaan land. I received a call from one of the Canaan land Moors who was having trouble in court. I sent him some documentation. He sent it into the court. Brother was facing like 9 years. Next thing you know, the court dropped everything. Case dismissed.
Wait, hold. The brother was facing 9 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they dropped the case
after? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I got him off completely, and I didn't charge him a dime. The next call I got was, Brother Jelani, we're having problems with these police up here, man. They taking our plates. They doggone taking our cars. They pulling us over, this thing, that thing. Well, at that time, I had just established the Ministry of Land, Transport, and Navigations. So I established a foreign corporation for them up there in Canada. They was the first foreign corporation we established. I only charged them for the franchise $720, basing it on Moorish Science. 7 plus 2 plus 0 is 9, right? And I just asked them as a group to pay me $50 a month for franchise dues, not individually, as an organization. All they do is pitch in doggone money for the $50 and send it to me. Now, side note, at that time, my hips were destroyed. I was barely walking. All right. And my grandmother was deathly ill. She was about to die. Because I was unable to work, we working off the same Social Security check. Because Social Security wouldn't give me a check. I applied 2 times. All right. So I'm trying to doggone help my grandma out by starting this business, the transportation department. It's a business, it's a corporation. So next thing you know, the brothers asked me to tell them where I get the plates from so they can buy the plates from bulk. In other words, cut out the middleman. And I'm saying to myself, brother, you ain't paying me a lick of dues for the business. But I'm going to tell you where I get my plates from, and you're going to buy them in bulk? Come on, man. Who you playing with? Then he going to tell me, man, Brother Jelani, they just contacted us, says, man, they honor everything we sent them. They honor our transportation department. The only question they have is how we deal with liability in case one of their people want to have an accident with our people. And at first I was like, brother, what y'all don't have no insurance up there? And in my mind, I'm going, man, these cats ain't paid me no dues. They want plates. They want insurance. I said, okay. I said, well, let me check into it. So now here I am and got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And these cats is playing with me. So I said, all right. The down payment for the insurance is $600 and something odd. Remember, they're supposed to pay me $50 a month. 12 times 50 is 600. So I was at least trying to get a year's dues from these people. Mm-hmm. All right. And because I wasn't going to establish insurance for them down in the States for Canada, because that means that they would expect me to pay the premium for their cars up there. See, you're still trying to play games with me. So when they didn't get the insurance, next thing I know, Cujo gets on YouTube and start talking about, well, yeah, what you need to do is take care of your sick grandma, I'm like, what do you bring my grandma in this for, man? Yo, where I come from, man, that's some serious business, man. Especially I'm sitting there watching her wilt away, dying. What you saying that for? I never even negotiated with him. It was 2 of his other members. It was another member. So I never had no one-on-one negotiation with them about the business that I gave them. It's still in operations today. A few years ago, I was on a thread, and one of them members said, well, yeah, we got our own transportation department. And I chimed and said, yeah, I gave it to you. So it's still operational, and I still have not gotten a lick of dues. I had to trick them out of a year's dues. And that was 2013 when we established it. And I still ain't got no dues to this day.
So basically, you just said you tricked them out of the dues.
I did.
So and how much was that?
$679. That's because 50 times 12 is 600. And that was one time, and they ain't paid a lick of dues since. See? So I wasn't getting over on them. They kept trying to get over on me. Why you gonna buy? how can you afford to buy my plates in bulk? All right. Bulk meaning like what, 12 or more?
Mm-hmm.
And at that time was like $30 a plate. So do the math. If you got enough money to buy plates, you got enough money to pay me my dues. This
Okay.
ain't like
and the
buy a
dues
Mercedes money. This is survival money.
right. And the dues was for basically for your service.
Yeah, for the service. You know, and I was supposed to give them additional instruction on how to process the cars. When they didn't give me my first month dues, I shut down on them. See what I mean? Because they were being disloyal to me. If any other business franchised to somebody else, it'll be well over a stack, well over $700. I looked them up afterwards. They was like the minimum is like $10,000 for a business. The Ministry of Land Transport is a business. It's not a right to travel situation. It is a religious corporation that deals with transportation, legitimate, registered with the Secretary of State. It has a file number and everything. So I don't promote the constitutional right to travel. No, I've been past that.
All right. Now we pretty much went over that part, right? So we went over the Nakeem, the Sharif, and the Cujo. I'm sure brother Nakeem, he's too busy to even deal with this type of stuff, but I'm sure other people are gonna come back and say something. Probably Cujo, right? Cujo is probably gonna yeah, good to hear both sides, honestly. Yeah, because I'm sure I think Cujo does have a video about this on his page. I think he does. And if he doesn't and he sees this, he's probably going to respond. And, I'm listening to your side. I heard his side, but I might have to go over it again. But basically, to be quite honest with you, this is like the past, and I really don't want to deal with it, honestly, because I spoke to Cujo about this, and you were open to talking to him in private. Remember, Jelani?
Yes, sir.
And he declined. So once I try to link the two and then one party declines and it's not going to happen, it is what it is now. It's over with.
That's it, brother. It's the past. I mean, I could very easily just contact Canada and dissolve the corporation because I'm the director. I'm the domestic jurisdiction. You got a foreign jurisdiction, got a domestic. I'm the headquarters. So I can just call Canada or write Canada and say, look, put a plug on that. I can dissolve it. That's what that is the power of but I didn't. I let karma take care of that, man. You know, at the time, man, I was watching the lady who raised me die. You know?
As a young Moor trying to come into wisdom, I need to know what's happening in our house so we can do what we can to preserve and move forward. That's what this is really about. Like, let's just knock this out of the park. Let's just we have this conversation. We had this conversation already. That's it. This is it, bro. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm glad I got a chance for cyberspace to hear my side of the story, because I do things for the people. I create religious corporations that makes it easy for us to establish schools. As a religious school, you don't have to go through that rigmarole about their education department. As a Ministry of Holistic Health, you don't have to get their licensing for midwifery and stuff like that. All these things are established. We just need good brothers and sisters to come in the house and take a seat. And that's your business. If you're good in holistic health, we'll set you up with a foreign corporation wherever you at. And guess what? You can practice holistic medicine. And can't nobody jump in there and make judgment about what your tactics are. As Moorish Americans, the school system, wherever you establish a ministry of education, you are the board of education for Moors in that particular republic. And the curriculum can be totally Moorish. You can teach calculus at 4 years old if you want to. And can't nobody jump in there and say, oh no, we don't preside. That's what we need as Moorish Americans. Handle our own business. But go ahead, brother. Please ask the next question. I don't want to dwell on, but I've always tried to protect and serve the Moorish diaspora. People that's me.
I still want to kind of talk about you though.
Okay, brother.
Yeah, because I just want to clear the air. So you spoke about that. You spoke about the Cujo situation, and now why people may look at you in a certain way because of the paperwork stuff and all of that, right? So now, what other misconceptions?
Well, let's talk about the paperwork for a second. 1 second, the paperwork. I was introduced to that process, and I was delegated.
Hold on 1 second, brother. Correct, brother. It's unfortunate. Correct. It's unfortunate that everyone isn't on the same page when it comes to the movement. It's really crazy. It's really crazy because it's like when brothers come in the movement away from torn homes, dysfunctional homes, gang banging and all of that, and they coming into this, they're coming back into dysfunction again.
What I tell people all the time, dear brother, and you hear me say this, I've been saying this for years, chapter, verse, sentence, paragraph. You can't go wrong with that. Read the Moorish Holy Quran, read the literature, read the Divine Constitution and bylaws. Forget what Grand Sheikh Huzi Mutsid says and Grand Governor Bapsa Bubu says. None of them are Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Right.
And that's their problem. I've been threatened so many times about coming into somebody else's movement, trying to force me in their jurisdiction. But after my Grand Sheikh died, and I talked with several people, they didn't want to really, because the Prophet gave instructions on how to establish a religious corporation. I read those instructions and I moved on it. You know what I'm saying? This is 2025. This ain't 2028 no more. We got to catch up with the times. Every church has a school built on the side of their church. And their children go to that church, K5 through 12. Look at Seventh-day Adventists. My old Seventh-day Adventist church has K5 through 12. And then Oakwood College is the Seventh-day Adventist college. So from the time they born till they doggone graduate from college and get married, they in one religion. And everybody that they deal with is in that damn religion. We're supposed to be doing the same thing as Moorish Americans. So I just lead by example, brother. I don't want nobody following me. I'm a doggone fool. You know what I'm saying? But I would like to share information with somebody so that if we got some smoke coming, we can stand shoulder to shoulder and back to back. And I don't have to worry about whether you know what you know or I know what I know. We know what we know. See what I mean?
Right.
That's my true philosophy, y'all. Islam.
So now I want to go into so the paperwork thing, and also I'm going to use, for lack of a better term, the renegade Moor stuff, and that. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so now, when you talk about the renegade Moors, that has to be really defined on what's renegade. Does renegade mean that they won't listen to you when you haven't demonstrated that you know what you're talking about? Respectfully, this is 2025. Where is our schools? Where is our hospitals? Where is our colleges? What are you doing to make that happen? If you're not doing anything to progress the Moorish movement, the Moorish Divine and National Movement, then why are you trying to force people to follow you? That's not what this is about. This is not supposed to be cliquism. We got the same instructions. You know what I'm saying? So what does chapter 47, verse 14 say? That on top of the laws that were laid down we can create our own laws and customs. That's like each municipality is under the state, which is under the U.S. corporation, but that municipality through its city council makes its own laws and customs. Islam.
So
It's the same thing. That's what the prophet meant, that he's going to leave them in place long enough to show us how to run government. See what I mean? So he gave us the blueprint. Like he said, he gave us everything we need to be a nation. The problem is you have Moors who don't want to cut the umbilical cord of the U.S. corporation. And instead of letting the new Moors come in here and investigate for themselves and research for themselves, you give them brothers a piece of paper so you can control them. See? And that's not what it's about. When the prophet said he was going to put the old Moors in the backseat, that wasn't putting a chain on the doggone trap door. Anytime you're in the backseat and somebody driving for you, they chauffeuring you. That's a place of regalness, of royalty. In other words, it's time for the older Moors to sit in the backseat and support the new Moors. If they need help, then you hang your head out the doggone car, back of the car, and, you know, lick off some shots yourself to support the younger Moors. And anybody who knows me personally, I don't hold nothing back of what I teach. I teach you administrative functions so you know what your job description is. The paperwork is a series of affidavits. Then instead of you trying to rack your brain on what to say to the courts, you already got an affidavit in your package you can send to the court and it takes care of it. See? That's what it's all about. Renegade Moors are those who are trying to be progressive. The older Moors want to stay back in 1928. The older Moors want to doggone, they scared they're not going to get their pension and their social security check, you know, and stuff like that.
Damn. Hold
you know,
on.
This is why they still doggone hanging on the names that allude to slavery. Prophets say you don't do that. So you proclaim your free national descent name. There's no Japanese named Juan Gonzalez. We're the only people still hold on to somebody else's name and lying about it that the prophet said it. Prophet didn't say that. See what I mean? He didn't say that. The people who created the Moorish Hadith, what do you call that? You know what I'm talking about.
The Moorish
that
Hadith.
Publication. The what?
You said the Moorish Hadith. No, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, the sayings of the prophet, they say.
Oh, yeah. The sayings of the prophet. I know what you're talking about.
That was published in 1970.
Yeah.
Prophet was gone in the 20s. See what I mean? So that's not the gospel, bro. That's like the
Moorish. That's why you called it the Moorish Hadith.
Yeah, because it's like the hadiths of
right.
What's the name? Because Prophet Muhammad was illiterate in his own language, you know. So people took a biography of the prophet, and then the hadiths are the laws of men, not God or Prophet Muhammad. They're the laws of men. So we're taking these laws, we're taking this publication where brother so-and-so said, that sister so-and-so said, that brother so-and-so said, that the prophet said XYZ. Right. Stick to the basics before 1929 and you can't go wrong. That's what we doggone teach in Moorish Holy. And the only reason why we established Moorish Holy like we did was because of what you call it before, the renegade elders who simply wants to control people. And like the prophet said, if you're not careful, your own brother will put you right back into slavery. See what I mean? And I'm not slandering anybody. I'm not talking bad about anybody. It's common sense. What do we learn about taxes? No taxation without representation. So technically, no more is supposed to be taxed. In religious law, religious organizations are not for profit. They are not tax obligated.
Well, that's a whole other podcast,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, that's just an example, though.
That's a
But go
whole other.
ahead, man. You know.
So, now the form of masonry that you practice or that you're a part of, that's your
Hmm.
culture, that's your way of life.
Hmm.
Where did you get that masonry from, right? So that's what I want to know, right? Because I don't know. I caught wind of your masonry not being official or something like that. The masonry, you know.
Okay. Well, listen. We are taught in the free and accepted ancient York Mason National Compact for the United States of America. And understand when you say for, that's a de jure jurisdiction. When you say of, that denotes ownership. That's in the corporation. So for the USA, um, within the compact, you have lodges that were established in like 1818, 1810, 1814.
Okay,
So
hold on,
what
hold on,
happened was,
hold on. Just in case I'm slow.
yes, sir.
It is later in the day for me. Okay. Okay. You became a Mason under what jurisdiction?
They call it the National Compact, but it's the free and accepted ancient York Masons National Compact for USA.
Okay.
They call it National Grand Lodge.
Okay. And why wouldn't that be official? Let's say if someone say, oh, because me personally, I heard York Rite, I heard Freemason, how wouldn't that be official? Let's say if someone tried to say that.
So that's a good question. See, because we created masonry 4,000 years before Christ. Wasn't no Europeans around then. And then the Europeans make the claim that they derived their power to create a Grand Lodge, a National Grand Lodge, because they can trace their ancestors to 1400 AD. AD. All right. Okay. So when John T. Hilton tried to kumbaya with them, they refused him. So since y'all created a Grand Lodge, we did the same thing. There were already Masonic lodges in existence. So all you need is 3 or more Grand Lodges to make a National Grand Lodge. So New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, they all came together. The delegates met in Boston, Massachusetts, and J.T. Hilton became the first Grand Master of the free and accepted ancient York Masons. Now, later on in the 1800s, delegates left the National Compact, and they derived their authority from the local states like Alpha Phi Alpha and the Kappas, like a regular fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
And they stayed out. They still had our warrants, though. And they stayed out there in the wilderness, as we say, until 1980 something. That's when the National Grand Lodge allowed them, of England, allowed them to be under them. And they coined them the Prince Hall Lodges.
Okay.
That's where you get the Prince Hall affiliated. They're not the origin. They're affiliated.
Mm-hmm.
And the United Grand Lodge of England gives them the authority to work. So now let's see what the United Grand Lodge did. The United Grand Lodge come up with the word clandestine, right? Meaning irregular or not recognized,
Mm-hmm.
But the word clandestine, per Mackey's Law Dictionary, means an organization that is covert or secretive. And all of Masonry is a society of secrets. But what they did was give an alternate definition to start the red ant and the black ant to fighting with each other. So when somebody called me clandestine, I said, who told you that? Your master? See? Because if that's the case, then, and you wish to be up under somebody who your ancestors taught, that's on you. But don't tell me.
Hold up, man. Hey, man.
It's true. Who taught them how to build castles? We did. That movie 13th Warrior showed you that. You know, the head Viking was going to help a friend of his daddy's, and the king was living in a barn, bro. Everything was wood and grass and stuff. The kings. See what I mean? So who all of a sudden UFO came down and poof, showed them how to build a castle? No. In 1750 AD, the Moors came to Europe, and the Moors showed them the 7 liberal arts, showed them about bathing. You see what I mean? Showed them architecture, how to build stuff. See what I mean? The Moors did.
Now, okay, cool. You spitting fire. Now, look. Here's the thing. Let's get to the nitty gritty of how that the lodge that you came underneath, which was in 1997, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is called again what?
Oh, my lodge was called Rising Sun 410. Now, Brother Brown was 85. His great grandfather was the head of that lodge. That's how old it is.
Now, would that be a lodge considered clandestine?
No. How can it be clandestine? It's just like any Masonic lodge. It's a lodge of secrets. It's a society that has secrets. There's nothing secret about it. See what I mean?
Okay.
So we doggone have a national grand lodge. We have a grand lodge. We have subordinate lodges, just like any other Masonic governmental order. Again, that was a device to another way they did it too. Long time ago, used to tell between York Rite and Scottish Rite or Prince Hall affiliated. In York Rite, we have the Blue House. We have 2 emblems for the Royal Arch. We have a York Rite emblem. We have a Knights Templar emblem. We have the Scottish Rite emblem, and we have the Shriner emblem. That's 7 emblems on the back of your car, right? Prince Hall only had 3: the Blue House, the Scottish Rite, and the Shriners. That's how you could tell the difference on spot. Then the United Grand Lodge come in there and be messy and give them the York Rite emblem. So now they got all the emblems we got. So now here go the confusion. You can't tell the difference until you talk to the brother. You see what I mean? So that's that doggone dude shaking up the doggone jar so the red ants and the black ants can fight. I met an elder one day at my grandmother's apartments, and I greeted him with the Shriner's greeting, and he responded. So as we was talking, he found like I was York Rite. He stopped the conversation. They told me I can't talk to you. But the way Blue House Masons talk to each other is universal. So if we speaking the same language, because they tell you that I'm not recognized, by whom? By whom? How do they get the authority to tell another society of Masons that they're not legitimate when their ancestors taught them? But if you don't do the research, you won't see it that way. You see what I mean? And that's why it doesn't bother me when they come with that clandestine stuff. Come on, brother. You know, look up. You can look up. Here's a receipt. The Matthew Manifesto. General Matthew was a national grand master, and he when they left, those delegates that left and went on their own, he sent out a letter saying, "Hey, look, man, come on back home. Come on back to the National Compact. You know, we forgive any doggone misunderstandings we had, and just come on back, man. Let's be one." And they refused. And they kept begging until the 1900s, you know, until the United Grand Lodge accepted them. And they call them Prince Hall Lodges, but guess what? There's no such thing as Prince Hall Masonry. Really and truly. Even though we're Prince Hall origin, there's 3 types of Masonry. York Rite, Scottish Rite, Memphis Rite.
What was the third one?
Memphis Rite.
I never heard of that.
That's the degrees of Mitzrayim. They go up to 97 degrees. That comes straight out of Kemet.
So I got someone saying, "Oh, wait, before we do that, before we go into that next one, could you explain do all old business in the old name and all business in the new name?"
Yes, that makes okay, I got you. So in other words, let's say your Social Security and your birth certificate. All right. When I was in the military in my birth name. So all contracts dealing in the military, I would not try to change those documents to my free national descent name.
Mm-hmm.
I would submit certain documents that protects me when I use what we call the estate trust name, the all capital name. Same thing with the Social Security. That's public. As a Moorish American, you private. So anything you do in the private, you do in that name. Or you, in other words, the new business as a Moor, you do it in the Moorish name. The old business under the estate trust, under your birth name, you continue that business in your birth name or your estate trust.
All right. Now I want to go to the next one. If you're not recognized by the Grand Lodge of England, then you're clandestine. That's what that's what the brother's trying to say.
Yeah, I know.
Jelani,
Listen,
Jelani, this is what you're saying. This is what you're saying right here.
right.
This to me sounds so crazy. This sounds crazy. If you're not recognized by the Grand Lodge of England.
See, if Master don't say you recognize, then I's not going to recognize you.
Mountains. The Johnny come latelys. We got to get permission from the Johnny come latelys. Our children. We got to get permission from our children to set up shop and teach what we taught them. Okay.
Master ain't going to like that. It's just common sense,
you know,
bro.
I'm not with that. I'm not with that.
Yeah. No disrespect to the PHA, man, but yo, the title is Prince Hall affiliated, not origin, not the original. So I mean, that's a counter argument to what he's talking about. We're the original jurisdiction as far as Prince Hall is concerned. You know, how they're going to come along and say we're not.
Okay, John G. Jones in a Memphis Misraim, right? Okay.
Right. Well, I have all due respect for that particular order in John G. Jones and what he did. You know, I'm not. That's my next step. After I get my 33rd, I'm going to go into the Memphis rights. See, I'm seeking knowledge, man.
Now, England utilized the lodge as an agent for empire.
Cap.
Say cap. Okay. All right.
Cap, prove it.
The Grand Lodge of England versus Grand Orient. Okay. I like how you put that there. PHA really is a consolation prize. Okay. All right. So
Grand Orient rules hand down. They go all the way back to Kemet.
okay, so for me it's like this, right? I'm looking at it like this. This might be a bad analogy, but it is late for me.
Run it, brother, run it.
All right, we got two types of martial arts.
Us?
We got karate, which is commercially known and world renowned, right? But me, I go and create 52 blocks.
Islam.
And it's even way more effective than this karate that everyone loves. But it came from me, the original man that's been a warrior since time memorial. But 52 blocks isn't as respected as a karate commercialized type of school.
You're not Japanese, man.
Right. So that's how I'm looking at this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So 52 blocks is clandestine.
Legitimate, but because the Japanese and the Chinese, don't look at it as a martial arts, it's clandestine to them, even though they got their martial arts from us again.
Right.
The lions grow in China, so I'm on, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. You got to understand, man. Listen, we don't understand that we're at war. That the entire planet is trying to suppress us. Look at that movie, Gods of Egypt. All European casts.
Mm-hmm.
If the producers don't do a counter movie to that, 20 years from now, our grandchildren is going to think that's what the Egyptians look like. We're talking about a people who's done a good job of usurping our history and culture. When you look into the Masonic order and you read the lessons, none of them have nothing to do with Europeans. So how can Europeans regulate original people science?
Okay, real quick, we're gonna go. The brother said, "Are you saying that the British?" Because you said cap about what was that? The England utilized the lodge as an agent for empire, and then you said cap. Then the brother says, "Are you saying that the British Empire did not utilize the Masonic lodge to spread its influence around the planet?" I think that's what he was alluding to when he said that first comment.
Okay, then, but guess what? Who taught them?
I agree with him on that.
Yeah. But that's after we taught them.
Yeah, okay.
We taught them, and then they put us to sleep, and then they doggone capitalize on what was taught to them by us. It's our job to recapture that information. That's why we have Jafta's Mobile Lodge. You learn exactly what a Mason's supposed to know, and then you learn where it comes from. Genetically, genealogy. You know what I'm saying? You learn who the actual characters are, and you learn their lineage and how far it goes back. And then you see for yourself, ain't nothing but brown people we talking about.
Olive.
That's right, olive. Dark and light olive, brothers and sisters. That's right. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, man. So I don't care what you're saying is that because at first the Moorish Empire ruled everything. That's why you got a pyramid and an eagle on the dollar bill. Those two world empires have always influenced. There's not a place on the planet that when you do the research, you don't find olive people as the original people. So like you said, Johnny come late, is this all due respect to the United Grand Lodge? because they did an excellent job in preserving that science that we gave them. See what I mean? So I got to give them, I can't say that. Mm-hmm. But for our olive brothers and sisters to abandon their culture, their history, and give all that credit to somebody who don't deserve that credit. See what I mean? That's what my problem is. If you PHA, brother, if you up on the United Grand Lodge of England, man, look, bro, let's just dap each other up and go about our way. If we don't want to learn from each other. But don't sit there and slander me. You know what I'm saying? Or talk or say what I'm doing is illegitimate. I've been doing that 27 years, almost 30 years. And it's funny that when I say I'm National Compact, the European go, oh, hi, brother. How you doing, brother? I was bouncing in a bar in my turban, and one of the other white bouncers who goes to the lodge, the local lodge, we had been building, and he told the rest of them who I was, not only a Moor, but a Shriner and from the National Compact. I'm sitting in a dark corner somewhere wearing black on black, and about 8 of them roll up on me in a line, and each one bowed to me and went on about their business and assured me that if any smoke that I can't handle, they're right there.
Well,
see, that's comfort.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
That's confirmation. You know, when they see the 5 letters, what's that? Hey, Ace, hey, brother, what is that? What's them letters stand for? And I break it down. Oh, okay then. Hey, man, meals on me. I was at an IHOP. Had my car parked to the main, what's the name? I got all my light on the back of it. Out the blue, this man came to me and doggone put $20 on the table. You have a good day, brother. And kept on going.
Now, real quick, we got to address the comments. What is that? True. I can't really see. I need glasses.
Glasses. Go ahead.
I need glasses. I keep postponing it because I'm getting older, so I'm like, damn, I need glasses now. Hold on. How can Moorish scientists get us out of these conditions? Now, truth teller, you might be a Pan-Africanist or Black nationalist. I like these kind of questions. Where are you from, though, truth teller? Where are you from, first of all? I want to ask that. I want to know that one. And then the Moorish scientists, right? How can they get us out of these conditions? Okay. First off, we try to deal with the junk first, or I don't want to call it junk, but we try to get all the nonsense out of the way first. And then after that, then we could talk about all the other things. That's why we're now getting into the brother's history and all of that. So then later on, we could just start going in and teaching. But we had to get this stuff out of the way. As far as Moorish scientists and what the Moors are doing a lot of things now, brother. A lot of things. There's so much to talk about. I could bring Moors up that's doing a whole lot. The brother Cosmo L. Oh my God, mm-hmm. Cosmo L is doing a lot. I could go on and on and on and on, but I won't do that right now because that's not the podcast for today. So anyway, the brother Jelani broke down all of his history, all of what was happening surrounding his name. He was open to speaking about it. You can also reach him on his social medias. Jelani Bey is an easy person to contact. He is not hard to talk to. Every time I say, Jelani, would you talk to the brother? Jelani says, yes, I would talk to the brother. I've never heard Jelani say, I'm not talking to that brother. Never. Anytime I say, Jelani, what's going on, man? We having an event on 126th Street in Harlem. This was 2008. Yeah, I'm with it, brother. Jelani, can you come up do a podcast? When we first started, we had about 100 subscribers. Yeah, I'll do it. So Jelani, from what I know and what I've witnessed over the years, he's never hard to get in touch with, talk to, nothing. He's gonna speak his mind. He's gonna feel he's human, like we all are, and that's just that. So
You
if
won't
you
catch me
want,
making anything up. You know what I'm saying?
say what?
Because you'll never catch me making anything up.
I don't know anything. Like that's why when the first podcast, the more recent podcast we did last week, when I was just like, I didn't understand where it was really coming from. The only thing that threw me off is the whole the Nakeem Bey chasing in the city kind of thing. That's what threw me off, because I just never known Nakeem Bey to be running. Or Nakeem Bey has always been he's always been a God. I never known him not to be outside of being God. You know what I mean? Like the true and living gods, getting chased and all that. That don't even sound right. You know what I mean?
Well, brother, it's like this here, man. I mean, and this is a hypothetical situation, just because I can't be in his mind or whatever. I've heard this several times, but it only makes sense if there's 50 dudes coming for you. You're not going to step in the middle of doggone 125th Street and do a Enter the Dragon movie.
Nah.
You're going to avoid that smoke.
Right.
You see what I mean? So I'm not saying it like, them cats saying he was a punk or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Nothing in regards to his manhood. But I know if it's 50 cats after me, hell, if it's 10 cats after me, you're going to see knees and elbows. You know what I'm saying? Until I can get somewhere where I can regroup.
Right.
Identify them and get them one by one if I have to.
Right.
That's just the wisdom of a soldier.
Right. For sure.
That's where I'm coming from. I'm not saying the brother's a chicken, but I would do the same thing. You feel me?
Right.
So there's no condemnation on the brother whatsoever, man. None.
Got you. Yeah, man. I never heard you speak ill of anybody either. I never heard you speak ill of anybody. I never heard you talk crap about nobody behind their backs. Nothing ever. I never heard it.
But that's my life story, brother Ron.
Even when people are saying stuff about you, you go, well, brother, this is what happened. And you explain the story. You don't say, well, that punk mother, you don't do none of that. None of that.
No reason, man. Truth is truth, brother.
So
you
for
see
me,
what I mean?
Jelani cool with me. I'm cool with Jelani. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get the problem. But we cleared it up. We're done with that now. Anytime you see Jelani on the podcast, we're building on masonry. All right. As much as we could build on. Because I understand there's certain things you can't say, things in that nature and all that. But this is like an educational thing on Freemasonry. Anytime you see the brother Jelani, and of course Moorish Science, these are his specialties. So that's what he's on the platform for. We just came up today to clear the air. The air is clear, and we're out of here, brother. You have anything to say?
Brother, one of the biggest things I did, and I don't regret a day, is getting into York Rite Masonry, becoming part of the National Compact. Not only because of its particular camaraderie, but the history and how far it goes back, with receipts. And when I came into Moorish Science, I saw so many similarities to what I had learned in Masonry. And that's the only thing that behooves me is the beef between Moorish scientists and Masons. And it's just Masons don't know their nationality, and Moorish scientists read books, not understanding that a lot of the books that we use, they were written by Catholic Christians who were trying to expose the Masonic order. So if you read the foreword, they talking trash about the order. But they did so good a job of putting together the information that we use them as reference books because they're not off. So, what happens inside the different jurisdictions is different than what's in the book. This is how we catch a lot of book masons. See what I mean? So, man, that's why I tell people, bro, come on into Jaffa Mobile Law. And the only reason is because it's a Moorish lodge that's online. Because you say, dang, man, I'm going to try masonry. But then you go into a lodge of all Negroes who know nothing about Moorish science. And you out of law for trying to teach them Moorish science. You see what I mean? It's a conflict. That's the only reason why I suggest it. If you don't like it, leave. So, we ain't going to jump you in. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to get jumped out. If you disagree with it, leave. You're free. But at least you can say when somebody tell you, oh, yeah, they're licking goat butts and stuff like that, you can go, cap. Oh, man, no, I know, cap. I've been there. Like Barato Arabo. You don't merely guess. And that's what being a Moor is all about, education.
Right.
A Moor supposed to know damn near anything in the universe because our ancestors created it. So it's a constant search for knowledge, brother.
Right.
And that's what I'm all about, man. That's it, man.
Indeed. On that note, we're gonna have Brother Jelani up again to build. All the other stuff is out of the is done. It's over with. It's over with. If you say something behind this podcast, go ahead and say it. I'm not gonna say nothing about it. I'm done. All right. So we're moving on. Brother Jelani Bey in the building. Kilfani Bey, right? Kilfani?
Kilfani, yeah.
Kilfani Bey. He will be back on Masonry, Moorish Science. If you want to reach him, that's his name. He is on Facebook. And we're out of here. Peace.
Peace. Wow. Peace.
Peace, family. Welcome to NYP Talk Show. This is more than a podcast. It's a conscious platform rooted in truth and culture. From the 5% Nation of Islam, Moorish movement, and Masonry. Our mission is to reclaim our narrative and uplift the African diaspora with real stories and real conversations. Support us through super chats during live shows, donations on Cash App, GoFundMe, Patreon, or Buzzsprout, and by repping our official merch, available on our website and right here on YouTube's merch shelf. Every dollar, every super chat, every hoodie builds the movement. This is NYP.